Welcome to Off the Hanger. This week's guest is thrifting queen Lexy Silverstein. Now we chat all about her incredible new book that is packed with thrifting hacks and tips so that you can find the best pieces. I hope you enjoy this episode. Lexy, thank you so much for joining us on Off the Hanger. I'm super excited to have a good rummage through your wardrobe, but also to hear all about your fabulous new book that you have written, because this sounds like it is right up my street.
Thanks for having me on. I am so excited to talk to you today.
So tell me a little bit about your book and what inspired you to write it.
Yeah, so I'm a big thrifter. I've been on this sustainable fashion journey for a really long time, and I've been on, before that, just the fashion journey for pretty much my entire life. I've always kind of known that, you know, fashion was my passion, as they say. And so around like 4 years ago, I learned a little bit more about the fashion industry when I was touring colleges, and I toured my college that I go to now, the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in downtown Los Angeles. And I walked into this room where they had, you know, it was this sustainable fashion room, and it had pineapple leather and cork and all these like sustainable fabrics, and I had never heard of that before. And so I was like, oh, what is sustainable fashion? Why do we need it? What is this about? And I did some more research, and I was like, wow. So this industry that I've loved so much, that has been a part of my life since I can remember, and is part of all of our lives because we wear clothes on a daily basis, is actually super harmful to our planet, to ourselves, to our own physical health, to the garment workers who create all of our clothes, to animals. And I just had no idea, like, at all, because it's not marketed as this place that is, you know, unsustainable or unethical. It's marketed as, you know, you've had a bad day, let's go do some retail therapy. And that's how I saw it as, because why would I think anything else? I would kind of just assume that the clothes in my closet, you know, didn't have chemicals in them that were hurting me, or I would just assume that the people who made them were being paid correctly. But my assumptions were definitely wrong. And so I did some more research, and I was like, okay, what can I do if I'm going to be a part of this fashion industry that I love so much? I know I'm not going to be a part of this harmful side. There's always stories of like, well, I've been a vegetarian for like most of my life at this point. And there's always stories where it's like, I had a tree in front of my bedroom that I dubbed my tree. I was like, this one's mine. You guys can have the other ones, but this one's mine. And it got struck by lightning, and they had to come and like remove the stump. And I like chained myself to the stump with Halloween decorations. So mind you, not very like reliable chains, but also it was a stump. There was no top. So like all you had to do was lift the chains. My really wasn't like my most thought through moment, but I was like 7, so it's okay. I'll give 7-year-old Lexy a break. But there was always stories like that where I was like, okay, so I love the planet, I love people, I love animals, and I care about my own physical health. And so let's combine my two loves of, you know, people and the planet and animals with my love of the fashion industry. And I did more research about, okay, what does this mean? What do I have to change? What brands aren't sustainable? What brands are contributing to this? And I pretty much realized that every single brand I was religiously shopping at was not good. So I took up thrifting, I was already kind of thrifting. It became like this trend that people did in high school, but I've turned it from a trend to like a lifestyle. I would say 90% of my closet is secondhand, and the other 10% is clothes that I've had since middle school that I've just taken really good care of that still happen to fit. I don't know how. And other like sustainable companies, or just fast fashion, that I've taken care of for a really long time. And then I would say everything else, whether it's from Depop or a thrift store or eBay or some sort of garage sale that I just happened to walk by one day, is probably the other 90% of my closet. And all of that is secondhand. And so I was like, if this is something that I'm doing so much that I love, that is so fun for me. And like, it's like this treasure hunt, and it's this adventure. And I'm so like, at this point now, I look at like my thrifted clothes, and then I look at like clothes that are on sites like Urban Outfitters now. And I'm like, I don't even like that. Like, I feel like the quality of that versus like the quality of my like beautiful old vintage clothes is so different. So yeah, I was like, let me share with my followers, with friends, with family, with whoever's going to read it, some of my favorite thrifting hacks that have really gotten me through these past, I don't know, 5-6 years of thrifting. Because again, I thrift all the time, and my mom is always going around being like, I don't know how she does it. Like, she just thrifts the craziest things. I have no idea where she finds them. Like, she's so good at thrifting. And I was like, I really don't think it's that hard or crazy, any of the things. Like, I don't think I'm doing that much of like these crazy things. I'm just like, I'm searching everywhere. I'm searching every rack, and we can get into my hacks a little later. But so I just wanted to kind of share that and encourage people to shop secondhand and realize that, you know, that is a more sustainable option, and it's still cheap, because I think that's a big misconception about sustainable fashion, is it always has to be expensive. It doesn't always. It's still cheap, it's fashionable, you can still find things that you truly like, and it's thrifting. It's fun. It's an adventure. So that's why I wrote it. There's my very long answer.
No, that's a great answer, because I think it is that experience of something that comes really easy to you that other people look at and go, well, that must be really hard. And you go, actually, no, wait, it's not really hard, but actually, how can I make it easier for you? Well, if I write this, then you'll be able to pick up these tips and just follow the things that I'm doing. It does become easier for you, and it just encourages more people to do it.
Precisely.
Now, what is your earliest childhood fashion memory?
Oh, there's so many good ones. Probably my favorite one, I didn't even know about this till like recently, and my cousin was like, oh my God, my favorite story about you. And I was like, I've never heard this story before. I thought I had heard all of my like Lexy was going to grow up to be in the fashion industry stories already. But no, I learned about this like 2 years ago. And so I had this thing. I was way more worried about what I was going to wear the next day to school than like school itself, as a young child does, obviously. And don't tell my parents I said that, but I would lay out my clothes the night before school every single day on the floor. And I would, you know, put them in the order that I was going to be wearing them. So like my shirt would go here, my skirt would go here, my shoes would go there, and like my bracelets would go where I thought my wrists would be. Like, it was crazy. And I would plan it out every single night. It was like something I looked forward to at the ripe age of 5. Like, I don't think there was ever a time where my parents actually like dressed me. Like, it was always shit, other than when I physically could not dress myself. Like, it was always like, no, I got this. I do myself. And so one of my favorite stories is I would do that every night, and my grandmother was in town for whatever reason. She was in town, and I had put on my outfit to get ready to go to school. And she was like, Lexy, it's cold out. You have to wear a jacket. And I was like, okay, but I didn't plan this. Like, this, you have to give me some forewarning. Like, I need to find one that fits my whole outfit. Like, I've slept on this outfit. I've enjoyed it. I've really, you know, been sure in my decision. And now you're telling me I have to wear a jacket? Like, what do you mean? And so she makes me put on a jacket, and we walk over to the bus station, and I get on the bus, and I look at her through the window, and I like slowly peel the jacket off, looking her dead in the eye. So I was like, this did not go with my outfit. I am not wearing this. So I like wore it walking to the bus station to appease her. And then I get on and I'm like, no. And I literally look at her dead in the eye, and I slowly peel off my jacket. And I was like, that is such a me story. I would totally do that now. Like, I had planned the outfit. You can't mess it up by throwing me off my game and telling me I have to wear a jacket.
Oh my goodness. This is my son. This is exactly my son, except he's not even planning the outfits. He's just jacket averse, I think. Get him ready for school, and he has to put on the jacket or the coat. And then I'm sure the moment that I leave him, he just takes it off, wedges it in his bag. He never ever has
I'm
a belt on when I pick him up.
Yeah, my nephew, who's 4 years old, he is going through that phase as well, where he's like very anti-clothes, and so like every kid goes through it. Mine was more of a fashion statement thing than the clothes itself, but I feel like that story really tells you who I am now. Because I have not changed.
That's great. I love it. I love the planning. I'm a pre-planner as well. I like to know the night before what I'm going to put on. And I think then when I get up in the morning, if the weather's completely different to how I imagined it, it does not start my day off well.
I know. I'm a big like, I know like everything in my closet. And so I'll like, if I'm like going somewhere or something, or someone's like, oh, like, let's go do this. And I'm like, okay, great. Hold on. And I close my eyes and I like imagine everything that's in my closet. And I'm like, okay, I think I know what I'm going to wear. Like, like that's the first thought. I'm like, what? How are we getting there? Like, what's the plan? Nope. Let me just think about what I'm going to wear.
Exactly. Now I've got the perfect outfit in my mind. I can go on to logistics. But until the outfit's sorted, nothing else is getting planned.
Nothing's getting done. That's the first step.
What's the oldest thing you have in your wardrobe?
I have these heels. I have a lot of things that I've like kept for a good amount of time that I like just truly love and like will rewear all the time. I have a lot of like old t-shirts from like things that remind me of like when I used to go to a music school, and like I have shirts from that I like have kept, and I'll wear them in different ways where I'm just like, oh, I'll wear them to bed or I'll wear them to the gym, and that might not be necessarily like a fashion statement or anything, but it is something that I've kept for a really long time that I plan on keeping for as long as possible. But I think, I mean, I have these pair of heels, and they're not a sustainable company, but I've had them for a really long time, and I think that's okay.
Yeah,
because I learned from my mistakes, but I think that's a big thing of like, when you realize all of this, a lot of people are like, well, I have to change everything and I have to throw out all my plastic bottles and find it like more like instead of using all of my shampoo and conditioner because it's in a plastic bottle, I'm going to throw it out and buy a shampoo bar and conditioner bar instead. And I'm like, no, actually,
that's right.
Finish the thing first. Maybe find a way of like repurposing the bottle if it's some sort of like, I don't know, super nice bottle that you can store something else in. Or there's that store in, I don't know where else it is, but it's in Los Angeles. It's called Grocery. And you can go and you can bring like old bottles and just refill them up with like new product, which I think is amazing. So you're not getting rid of bottles. So I'm like, that's a big thing. So it's not like throw out all of the fast fashion, and please never throw out your clothes in the actual trash. Don't do that. There's always ways to better get rid of them. So if people think like, oh, I have to throw out all this fast fashion that I got to like restart with all these sustainable clothes or all these thrifted clothes or whatever. And I'm like, no, actually, keep it if you love it, you know? Like keep something. You already did the deed of buying it. So now it's just a matter of keeping it and keep taking care of it. So I have these heels that I think they're like the Katy Perry brand. And I've had them since like freshman year of high school, maybe like middle school even. And I just like really, they were like my first pair of heels. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm a big girl now. I can wear heels. Like I think it was middle school because I think it was during the like bat mitzvah circuit and like quinceañera circuit that I purchased them. And so I still have them to this day. They're like these adorable light shade pink heels. And I feel very like Carrie Bradshaw when I wear them. And they have like feathers coming out at the top. So they're very cool. And I've just taken really good care of them and continue to wear them all the time to like nice events or when I'm just feeling crazy and want to wear some heels. But I feel like too, if you probably go to my hometown closet, where my parents still live, I think I have majority of my stuff from like middle school and high school still, that whichever like still fits me and that I still wear. So I keep a lot of my clothes. I would say that other than the new thrifted stuff, like the other 10% is stuff that I've had for like since middle school. I don't think I have anything from elementary school because I don't think I weigh less than, 70 pounds like I did in elementary school. Thankfully, but I mean, I might have like jewelry and things from then. I definitely do. Oh my God, I have this Juicy Couture necklace that I distinctly remember getting, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so cool because I'm wearing Juicy Couture. And I still have it. I have it in Los Angeles with me, and I wear it all the time. So there's lots of things that I just never was like the, buy it and never wear and like get rid of it person. If anything, I definitely had the mindset where it was like, I can't wear this again because I've already been seen in it, which has definitely changed through time because what's with that?
It's all about re-wearing your wardrobe. And I think, especially for occasion wear, I think if you go to somebody's wedding or somebody's birthday party or it's some sort of an event, they're the pieces that you actually end up spending the most money on, but they're always the pieces that people go, oh, I can't wear that again because somebody's already seen me in that. I've worn that to somebody else's wedding. Like, no, get that back on, style it up differently and get your money worth.
Yeah. I completely agree. Or like a lot of times it'll be like you have a statement piece that you spend a lot of money on because it's a statement piece. But then since it's a statement piece, like everyone's going to remember that you already worn it. But I'm like, if I've spent any amount of money on anything, that means that I liked it or I loved it. And so why would I not wear it again? I don't know. I think that I understand why there's been this stigma of wearing, something once, but never in my life have I looked at someone and gone, oh, she already wore that there. And if I did, it was like in a, oh, I'm so glad she's wearing it again. Like, like never in my life have I ever thought negatively about someone re-wearing something. In fact, when I see someone re-wearing something, I'm like, good on her or them or whoever. For doing that. Like I don't know, like if you love these pieces, why not wear them multiple times? Give them their moment to shine.
Exactly. So I think it was Nicole Kidman who re-wore a dress to the Met Gala. I think the dress that she just wore to the Met Gala was something that she'd worn on red carpet before, and I think that's great. Keep doing that.
I know that her Met Gala look last year was definitely something that she had worn in this like iconic commercial that she had done.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was like cream, kind of like feathery dress, and she looks gorgeous. And we have these events where we all leave and we talk about what they wore. It's like the known first question, who are you wearing? Like if this is what our takeaway is from these events, if this is what we're talking about, rather than this created this much waste and this is whatever, and like if we're talking about the clothes, then yes, let's focus on that. Let's ride that wave and let's talk about, oh well, actually I'm wearing this and I thrifted it. And I know Lana Del Rey for what was it actually? Was it the Golden Globes? It was some award show, but she wore a dress that she thrifted. I know that Zendaya for the Met Gala this past year wore vintage archival looks. I know that Kendall Jenner wore an archival look that she didn't necessarily had already worn it, but that doesn't mean that because some other celebrity wore it doesn't mean that you can't wear it too. I know that it was Kate Winslet for the most recent Avatar movie. She wore a dress that she had worn like 25 years previous, and like everything, her shoes and everything, she had already worn it. So you can literally rewear whole outfits that you already worn, because if you looked great, if you felt great, why not wear it again? But I'm also such a big like shop your closet, see a different way of like, how can I style this in a new way? That's always what I do in thrifting, is like I ask myself, how many times am I going to wear this? Where am I going to wear this to? And what am I going to pair it with? Am I going to pair it with this single shirt that I have and then wear those outfits, that one outfit because I wore that one shirt and that one skirt together? and then maybe I'll like get up the nerve to wear once more that same exact outfit. So now I've worn it twice with the same thing. Is it really gonna, like, I don't need that in my closet then. But if I'm gonna wear this pair of jeans with every single top in my closet, or this blazer and this jacket and this and whatever, like, then it's worth getting, because I've now made use of this garment. I really love it. I know that I can wear it multiple ways. I'm getting my price per wear down because I bought it at $15 and I've worn it 50 times. And so now I really bought it at like a few cents. Like, I don't know. I think that we definitely need to break this stigma. And I think that when we have these events like the Met Gala, where fashion is one of the main topics of discussion, or even the Golden Globes or the Oscars or whatever, and we have people that have often, like, not necessarily they're the only ones that created that stigma, but it is a big thing that it's like, well, a celebrity can't wear this again because they already wore it. So if we have someone that, you know, maybe people look up to, maybe they have a huge fandom and they're promoting re-wearing something or thrifting, like, it'll have such a ripple effect. And so breaking that stigma, whether it's re-wearing your jeans a few extra times to get comfy, and then re-wearing whole outfits or styling new statement pieces in a new way, is such a underrated, sustainable move that we can make.
And a really easy one to do. What would you say is the piece in your wardrobe that gets the most compliments?
Yeah, it's hanging up on my wall right now, but I don't want to ruin the
okay.
I'll send a photo. But I have this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful dress. It's Scott McClintock, who is, I think it's either the son or the nephew, Jessica McClintock, who was the designer for Gunne Sax, that beautiful, like, vintage company that, I mean, they're kind of known for, like, these, like, very, like, Renaissance fair dresses, but they're huge right now. They're having, like, a Gunne Sax dress on eBay can be like $100 to like a few $1,000s. And so Jessica McClintock, there's been many designers for Gunne Sax, but she's one of the like most known ones, like that when you're looking for an era of Gunne Sax, like, you look for the one with Jessica McClintock. And I stumbled into this random antique mall in San Luis Obispo, California. And it was my first time ever going to this antique mall. I hadn't gone before. And I was just like, no real, like, thing that I wanted to find, because I feel like antique malls are very, like, a little bit of everything. I love antique malls. They're, like, heaven to me. But they had these dresses hanging up from the ceiling. And it was literally like a moment where it's like, it was like the dress had like a shine, like the sun shining behind it. And I was like, you have found me. Like, this is the dress of my dreams. And so it's a Scott McClintock dress, and I got it for $40. I was shocked. And it has this like beautiful vintage floral pattern, and it's kind of like a corset, and it has a drop waistline. Me thinking of what the word is. It's the waistline. And I love a good drop waist. I think that they're so interesting and beautiful, and like really can elevate a dress. And then it has this like beautiful old vintage lace down the middle. And it is by far my favorite thing in my closet, my favorite thing that I've ever gotten secondhand. And every time I wear, and it has the cutest little bow in the back. Anyways, I talk about this dress all the time, but for hours. But it is definitely something that when I wear, people are like, "You thrifted that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's from like the 80s. No, I bought it new." It's so beautiful, and I quite literally have it hanging on my wall because it's such like a beautiful piece that I'm like, if that was in my closet, I would feel like I was doing it injustice. It needs to be framed on my wall.
I agree, though. I think fashion is art. I think there's definite pieces where I've got pieces and I'm like, you can't go in the wardrobe. You have to sit on a shelf in a prominent place because you're so beautiful. I want to see you on a daily basis, and just
I'm the same
beauty
way.
Of things.
I like do that a lot when I'm like, in the apartments that I've had and have now, like I'm like everything in my apartment is secondhand, but when I'm like, there's an empty wall and I don't have like a photo to put up for it and I haven't found one yet, or I don't plan on getting one, I literally just like throw clothes up there. I have 2 dresses hanging on my wall outside, and then I have a clothing rack in my bedroom that has like all of my vests, my like statement vests. It really put in perspective how many vests I bought when I did that. I was like, oh, I didn't realize I had quite this many. So it was good to put them on display so that I could go wear them more. But I'm like a big like, or I always have like a clothing rack somewhere in my room. Like I'm like, I have these very fun, beautiful, crazy pieces. Like, let me show you guys them. Let's talk about them.
Exactly. Let's not just hide them away. Now, what's the newest addition to your wardrobe? I'm imagining it's a newly thrifted edition, though, not a newly shop-bought edition.
Yes, definitely. Let me think. Oh, I just went thrifting. What day is it? I went thrifting on Friday. No, I went thrifting on Thursday. There we go. And I got these so everyone in the world seems to be rewatching Sex and the City right now. I don't know. I think it just maybe just got on Netflix or something, but everyone I'm talking to right now is watching Sex and the City. And I am like, wow, she really rocks a heel. Like, obviously we know Carrie Bradshaw, Sarah Jessica Parker, like she has a shoe company. Like, we know Carrie Bradshaw and her shoes. Like, that's Carrie Bradshaw. And I was like, I really like have kind of slept on this whole like heel wave my whole life. Like, I mean, obviously kind of makes sense. Like, I wasn't really gonna be wearing like heels to my random Tuesday like class at 7:30 in the morning. Like, that's not the vibe because I'm too tired to walk in heels. But now that I'm about to graduate, I'm like, oh my God, I can wear heels to work. Like, heels are beautiful and fun. And so I was like, I actually have no heels in my closet. I have like maybe like some fun boots that have heels on them, or like very chunky platforms, but I don't have like a nice everyday heel that if I just wanted to wear a heel to work and get a little taller, walk a little more confidently. And so I thrifted these fun, they're just red, like oh my God, what's it called? Slingback, like strap. It has like a strap around the ankle. Kitten heels, and they're pointed toes, and they have like the toe part is leather compared to the rest of the shoe is like it's just a different fabric. And then I immediately wore them after, because I always do that. I'm like, oh well, I just thrifted this piece, let me wear it right now. And I wore this like really cute outfit with these red shorts and like an I Heart Paris top, and I felt like I was really just exuding Carrie Bradshaw energy, which, you know, is what my goal is in life. I just want to exude Carrie Bradshaw energy. I want to wake up every single day and be like, would Carrie Bradshaw wear this? Okay, great, let's wear it. And so that was the most recent one, and I plan on keeping it for a really long time. I love a good heel now. So that was the most recent one.
What's the most?
I should like start naming all of my clothes and shoes and stuff, and then they'll be like my babies.
Exactly. That's a great idea. I think naming things is perfect, because you do get some brands who have named their pieces. It's not just that it's, you know, black A-line dress. It'll be the just
completely.
And I think that's really cute when you then have those memories. You remember the names of the pieces.
No, completely. My friend, her Instagram handle is Activism. I talk about her doing this all the time. I think it's the most interesting thing ever, but she has this spreadsheet. So she's gone through her entire closet and taken photos of everything in her closet and then named them and like wrote what she bought it for, where she bought it, what the brand is. And like, then she'll take photos of her outfits every single day and she'll log them. And then she'll track, okay, I wore these shoes this many times. I wore this shirt this many times. And it has this whole underlying sustainability theme, because you're learning what you gravitate towards, like what colors you wear the most, so that now next time when you go thrifting and you see a piece that you like, but it's this bright yellow that you absolutely never wear, which bright yellow is a great color. I don't think I look good in it. So if you wear bright yellow, I love it.
It's not a main color either. There are people out there who look fabulous in bright yellow, and And good for you. Live
right. And I love that. I am not one of those people though. And so if I really like a shirt or something, but it's in bright yellow and I know I'm never going to wear it, then it helps me to like be like, okay, so that answered my questions of like, how many times realistically am I going to wear this? And then it also is like, okay, well, I gravitate towards this silhouette and I like gravitate towards this and I wear a lot of these outfits, and it helps you to understand your dressing habits a lot better, which then helps you to understand your shopping habits a lot better, which then has this huge sustainability underlying ripple effect. But we've been talking about how we need to do it for my closet, because I'm a little bit of a maximalist and I have quite the crazy closet. I'm kind of looking at it right now and I'm like, it looks like a cloud's closet, but like in the best way, where it's like there's all these colors and all these like puffy sleeves and like crazy different vibes. Maybe when I do that, instead of being like, this is a black lace dress, I'll be like, okay, this is the Veronica.
Yeah. And I think it's fun to give them names. It gives them all a bit of personality, because you definitely have really sassy ones that would have a really sassy name. And then you've got the really girly feminine ones. And then you've got your like boss ones. I think, it's such a good idea.
Completely. I love it. Because then it also, I feel like, would make me, which I treat my clothes like they are everything to me. But then I feel like if other people did that, like it would kind of give you that connection with your clothing, or like maybe like a fun topic of conversation to make you appreciate those clothes even more. Because I feel like this whole like, we've kind of disconnected of like, oh, I just need to buy something and throw it out. Like we've stopped appreciating the garment itself, and not everyone and not always, but I feel like that would help to kind of bring back our love for these individual pieces, you know? I'm going to start naming them.
I agree. I think it's a great idea. I would love to have the time to do mine, to go through it all and photograph it all, and then mark when I've worn things and give them all names. It would just be fabulous.
Yes, that's the goal. That's the goal.
What's the most sentimental piece in your wardrobe?
I have a lot of stuff that I've stolen from my mother. This is how she's gonna find out.
Hey, Mom! Hi, Mom. Sorry, all the things that you are missing there in my wardrobe.
If you were wondering where that was, I hate to tell you this, but I have a lot of pieces from my mom. I have this purse that I just got. My aunt was going through my grandma's things, and she found this purse, and she was like, "This is a beautiful purse. I don't think anyone other than Lexy would probably actually wear this." And so she just gave me that, and it's this like adorable, it's like the tiniest purse ever. And it's like this, it's one of the ones where you're like, what am I realistically going to put in this? So it's beautiful, but it's super inconvenient. And so they were like, the only person who's going to actually wear this is Lexy. And so it's cute. It has like kind of like ropes on it, and it's small, and it's like a pearly color, like a kind of like cream, but not quite there. And I wore it as soon as she gave it to me. I wore it to this sustainable event that I went to, and I posted it, and everyone commented, and they were like, "Oh my God, where'd you get that purse? Like, I love it." And I was like, "That's really sweet that you said that. I hate to tell you this, but I also love to tell you this, because I hate to be the person that's like, it's thrifted." Because the people are like, "No, now I can't get it." And I'm like, "I'm really sorry." And then I'll send them like, "Okay, here's a very similar link of something I found on Depop." But I also like loved being like, oh, it was my grandmother's. And so there's a lot of things like that where I'll wear my mom's jewelry or like my grandmother's jewelry or purses or clothing, and I'm just like, it's that extra like sentimental thing of like, oh, well, I have my mom hanging out with me right now because I stole all of her rings and she has no idea. Sorry. Or it's that fun sentimental thing where it's like, oh, I'm at this event, but I have my grandma with me. And I don't know. I have a lot of things like that. I don't know if I could pick just one, but probably anything that I've stolen from my mom. Sorry, Mom. At least I'm mentioning it now in a way that's like, I love it because I have you here with me, Mom. So if you're listening, don't be mad.
I love that. That's just gorgeous. I think that's so good. Now, is there a piece in your wardrobe you would say most sums you up?
Sums me up. Ooh. Okay, see, that's the thing is like, I don't know if it would be one individual piece, but when I wear certain outfits, I love when people will comment or like they'll tell me, like some of my close friends will be like, this is such a Lexy outfit. And I'm like, I don't know what that means, but I'm so honored. Like,
I've done my job.
like I'm like,
I have done my job well. I have put together something that is
all that matters.
Yeah.
Me. Right. Because I feel like in this, you know, with social media in this day and age, like we have so many things that are being thrown at us that it's like there's coquette core and there's, you know, mob wife aesthetic and there's this and there's that and there's bows and there's ribbons and there's gingham and whatever, and all of which I love. Not saying I'm like don't participate in all of those, but I do like I think that because of that, sometimes like when I don't have an idea of what I'm gonna wear first thing in the morning, because sadly I did stop laying out my clothes the day before, but that doesn't mean I didn't stop thinking about what outfit I was going to be wearing. I just don't. I don't have. I live in my own apartment, and if clothes are on the ground, I probably would not be very thrilled. I think that like when I don't have an idea of what I'm going to wear, sometimes, you know, I'll go to TikTok or I'll go to Pinterest and I'll try to get inspiration, but it ends up just being like replicating an outfit that I saw on someone else. And while the outfit is so cute and like very trendy or whatever, it doesn't feel like me at the end of the day, or I don't feel the most confident, rather than if I go into my closet and I'm like, okay, I really want to style this piece today. What am I going to do with it? And I this was like a very recent I actually have had this conversation a lot recently about like, oh, we've had so many trends thrown our way, and I'm like, I don't know what, like sometimes I feel like we lost that aspect of like personal style. And so lately I've been like, now like I won't go on TikTok, I won't go on Pinterest, I'll just pick one piece that I'm drawn to that day, and I'll figure out how I want to style it. And I feel like that's been like a really helpful exercise of like really finding my personal style again, because I always talk about I think personal style is so important. I think again we've lost this kind of aspect of like having your own style versus like just following trends. And trends are great, trends are fun, trends give you inspiration, they're a good way of like helping you lead to maybe what that outfit is. But I think incorporating those trends with your personal style rather than just replicating the current trend is so important, because it'll help you build this capsule wardrobe. And I think that capsule wardrobes have like, we have this idea that capsule wardrobes are like everything that is like a basic, you know, which is like a one blue pair of jeans, one dark wash pair of jeans, one white shirt, one black shirt, and then mixing that up in a bunch of different ways. But I personally see capsule wardrobe as a wardrobe that encapsulates my style, you know. And I have I could wake up one day and be like, okay, let's go all pink, and then the next day I'll be like, okay, let's go all black, like, and those are both my style. It's just kind of like, it's okay that it has that like spectrum and that range. But I think that since kind of steering away from trends and not going to stores that are so trend heavy and going thrifting, I've had the opportunity to kind of pick out pieces that I genuinely like. Because when you go into, you know, a store like Urban Outfitters, it's these garments that are geared towards these trends. It's super micro trend heavy, or Forever 21 or Shein or all those stores. Like they're very trend heavy. That's what fast fashion pretty much is these stores that utilize these micro trends, make a billion clothing in that style, and then get rid of it the next day to go on to the next trend. And so with thrifting, you know, you walk into a thrift store, you walk into a Goodwill or a vintage store or wherever, and it's there's not one style, there's not one color. It's half the time like unorganized. You don't even know where you're going. But as I like sift through and I go through literally every single hanger, I really see like I pick out pieces that I actually like, rather than just, oh, this is on trend, everyone's wearing it, let me just get it. And so now I feel like I have a wardrobe full of, you know, fun, bright pieces that really say who I am. So I feel like it can't just be one item that I think encapsulates me, but probably like my closet as a whole, I would say is a really good, like, if you want to get to know me, look at my closet. Like,
like who you are.
Yeah, it's spunky, it's fun, it has some range to it. Like, but I think when I wear outfits that it's like I took the time to really just style this in a way that I thought was interesting, that made me feel good in it. Like that's where I'm like, this is a Lexy outfit. And other people will say that when I feel like I've done that. And I'm like, I'm so glad that this is what you see me as, because this is how I also saw myself. And it was the other day, I went to this vintage sale called A Current Affair. If anyone lives in New York, it's coming up in New York soon. And I had never been to this before. And they're coming back to LA and then New York again. But I'd never been to this thing before. It was heaven on earth. I was in love. And I had picked out an outfit. I thrifted this like sheer kind of like tutu, but like not like a longer tutu. And kind of without all the layers of the ruffle. It was just like kind of a sheer skirt that had tulle at the bottom of it. And I was like, oh, I want to style this in a fun way. And so I started with that piece. And then I wore these micro shorts underneath that had cheetah print on it. And they were gray. And they had little black like dots on it from the cheetah print. And so I was like, okay, this goes together. And then I was like, okay, well, let's stick with the neutral like vibes, because that's what I'm doing. Or should I do a pop of color? And I ended up going with this just like cream vintage button-up shirt. And then I was like, okay, how can I make this a little bit more interesting? And I threw a bra on top of it. So I was like, why not? You never know. Like, let's style this in a crazy way. And then I wore, what shoes did I wear? I wore heels because I've been trying to be Carrie Bradshaw. I wore some pair of heels that I can't remember right now. And then when I got to this, I was walking to this vintage sale, and two women, they stopped their conversation while I was walking to talk about my outfit. And I like turned around when I got all the way down to the end of the block, and they were still looking at me. And I didn't like overhear, so I have no idea if it was in a good way or in a judgmental way. But I was walking around downtown Los Angeles, which is definitely an interesting experience, to be walking around with a bra on the outside of your outfit. But I walked into the vintage sale, and everyone, like, when I first walked in, there was like chairs for like eating food or whatever. And I saw so many heads turn and be like, oh, that outfit is so good. And I was like, I found my people, like, thank you. And so I haven't even posted anything. I posted on my story saying that that's what I wore. And I ended up getting this beautiful pearl vest that I ended up just pairing over top of it, because I was like, this goes perfectly with my outfit. I posted on my story, and like people swiped up and were like, this is such a you outfit. Or like, I went to go see my friends over the weekend, and someone was like, oh my God, I just love that outfit that you wore. And I was like, thank you. Like, this is like that means so much to me, because that's an outfit that I was like, that was such a me outfit. And I started with I knew I wanted to wear the tulle skirt, and I went from there. And so I don't know, I feel like it can't be one piece, but more my whole closet or specific outfits.
And have you ever had a wardrobe malfunction or a fashion faux pas that you would like to share with us? I'm taking that as
so glad that you mentioned this. I'm so glad that you mentioned this, because it just happened.
Memory is fresh.
I was going, it was my friend's birthday over the weekend, and we were going out, and I was so proud of my outfit. I was like, I don't know, I feel like when you go like out like to dinner, or like maybe to like the club or like bars or whatever, like it's harder to find like a really interesting outfit for that, because it's like, I don't know, like going out and like going to like high school, like house parties or whatever, like you wanted to wear like what everyone else was wearing. Like you wanted to be like okay for a party. But I kind of was just like, you know what? I'm just going to wear an outfit that's me. And so yet again, I've made very good use of these micro cheetah shorts that I thrifted. But because I've been wearing them so much, they decided to break while I was out. And I literally couldn't get them zipped up. It was just like there was something snagged in the zipper, but like no one could find it. And right before that happened while we were out. And right before that happened, I was wearing this it's a purple sequin top, and it was not fully backless because there was a tie holding it together, except I bent down and the tie decided to completely break off. And I was like, great. So now my shirt has broken and my shorts have broken. But it was such a like girl bonding moment because I was in the bathroom when all of this happened. And I just was like, there was these random girls in the bathroom, and I was like, I am so down bad right now. Can someone please help me? And someone happened to have a safety pin on them and like pinned my outfit together so that you couldn't, like, the backless part wasn't moving. We were good. I wasn't going to flash anyone that day, but they did it in a way that covered up also the fact that my pants were gaping open in the back. And someone gave me like their spandex so that I could like, so you didn't have to see my underwear. And I was like, oh my God, like this is such a girlhood. Like, thank you. Like, I'm so grateful to be a woman. And so I was like, this is like such a girl bonding moment. So at least something good came from it. But I quite literally everything that I was wearing other than my shoes, thank God, knock on wood, did not break, or did break. Everything other than my shoes broke. And I was like, there was no, like, I couldn't go home and like fix it because I was like, this is my friend's birthday. Like, I'm not making this about myself. But I was like, of course. And it was pieces that I loved, and I just had worn them so much. Because they were so me and like whatever. And I remember literally before we left, everyone was like, no, I love this outfit. Like, this is such a good outfit. I was like, oh my God, thank you. And then it broke. And I was like, is it a good outfit though? It all broke on me. Anyways, it's okay because I've since repaired both of the things. Proof that just because it's broken doesn't mean you can't fix it and repair it and take care of your clothes. And so now they're both fine. And I plan on continuing to wear them for a very, very long time. But I was like, couldn't this have happened like all before we had left so I could have changed? Like, why did it have to be now? And I don't usually have things like that occur, but of course, it had to happen eventually.
Oh my goodness. Now, is there a dream item that if you could stumble upon it whilst you're thrifting that you would love to have? It doesn't matter how much it might cost or how practical it is. Just something that, you know, if the universe happened to put one in front of you and gifted it to you, what would it be?
Yeah, there's probably a few of those. Ever since I found this one Scott McClintock dress, I've been looking for one that's like similar, because this one is my dream dress. Like, beautiful. I'll never get rid of it. She is a little tight. I have to wear literally a corset underneath it, like the olden days, to fit into her. So she's definitely a rare occasion dress that I'm like, I love it, but I will never get rid of it, even if it's just hanging on my wall and like my friends can borrow it and whatever. Like, I'll find the most sustainable way of using this dress, but she's definitely a little tight. And so I always look like that's usually one of my like saved eBay searches is like Scott McClintock or Jessica McClintock or Gunne Sax dresses. And specifically, I love like old vintage dresses that have a drop waist. I know I already mentioned that, but I just love the drop waist aspect of it. My friend who's a designer, I was talking to her. She's so amazingly making my graduation dress for me. And I was like, yeah, I think I want a drop waist. And she was like, girl, I already had that in the design.
Like, of course you do. It's already been ticked. I knew that was what was coming.
You're already good. We're good. We know you love that. And so, I don't know. I think probably I've definitely stumbled upon a few Gunne Sax dresses. They do happen to be a little bit out of my price range usually. But I think that there's the Jessica McClintock Gunne Sax dress, which I love, like the style and silhouette of it. But they are very like Renaissance fair-y, which is not my usual go-to style. Like I would totally pair it in a way that would be my usual go-to style, but I think specifically like finding more dresses that are like, I'm like stopped in my tracks being like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I always like, I want to own these like really fun, unique statement items in a sustainable way that I'm going to wear a billion times over. But one of my big dreams is like to have like a closet full of vintage dresses, because I wear them a lot more often than you would think someone's wearing like this random vintage dress. I have these friends that their niche is like pink. I call them my pink girly friends. And one of my friends has this community called Fluent in Pink, and it's all people that are in this like pink community, and they all get together and like it's like living out their princess fairy dreams. Like it's so fun. And going to my friends' houses, like their closet is just full of huge like princess dresses. And so they'll have events like every month. So I'm like constantly actually wearing this dress over and over again to these things. So I wear them more often than you would probably think. But also I'm a big, like, I would literally just wear that to CVS and call it a day. So yeah, probably like something very similar to like the silhouette, because I love this one so much that maybe is hopefully a little bigger so I can fit a little bit more
space for the rib cage.
Just a little space for the rib cage, you know, just so I can slightly take a small breath in it. No, we're kidding. But yeah, just like I just love I love a good vintage Gunne Sax dress. I don't usually have like I don't really keep up to date with like kind of like designer pieces and things like that, because I don't really support designer companies depending on the company. Obviously Stella McCartney is not included in that, and Vivienne Westwood and stuff like that. But I think that there's not usually like one individual piece that I'm like, oh, I just absolutely need this. It's usually like something that I just don't have in my closet that I need it in my closet. Like if I'm missing a good pair of jeans, like maybe the item that I'm just absolutely longing for is a good pair of jeans, like, and that's okay, because that's just what I happen to need. I don't like to buy things that, you know, I'm not really going to get that much use out of. Speaking of which, though, I actually have been I looked on Depop for it, because Loewe shoes, they're so interesting. I think I saw it on my TikTok, which is why I was like, oh wait, maybe I should like look at Loewe shoes. But to go with my whole like heel thing, they have all these unique heels, and I was like, this is like totally like something that I, if was gonna invest in, like it would be something like this. So that has been a latest shirt, is like a fun Loewe shoe that I can get. That's a statement piece, but I can really like get my use out of, because it's still just like a heel. Like they'll have things where it's like the heel aspect is like a rose, or like a nail polish bottle, or a lipstick, which I think is just such a cool like elevated way of wearing like your classic heel. Like it's still just a black heel, but it has a rose as the heel instead of, you know, a regular heel. So that's been a latest search. So if I just happen to stumble upon one of those, that would be really cool. But I don't know. It's usually just like what am I feeling? What's in my closet? What's not in my closet? What do I actually need? But those are usually my two like saved. No, that one's a recent one. The Loewe one's a recent one. But what's always in my saved eBay search is like a good vintage Gunne Sax dress. I love Gunne Sax.
One day.
I'm not even sure if that's how you say their name, actually. I'm like, I love them, but I actually have no idea.
A few guests that I've had on Off the Hanger have mentioned them, and they've always said it as Gunne Sax. Okay, I assume that that's just how it is. I don't know, because obviously it's much more of an American thing than it is a UK thing. So I just go, well, they're saying it that way. Clearly that's the right way to say it. So, yeah. But
I said gun sax once, and someone was like a sack for your gun, and I was like, no. I was like, that is not what I'm in the search for. Thank you. Actually, that has never even crossed my mind. So I was like, okay, we're gonna go with Gunne Sax and just hope that that's right, because I've been misinterpreted in a very wrong way.
I think that's correct. So finally, we normally ask guests for a piece of fashion advice that they would have given to their younger self. But I'm going to switch it up with you, because I would like you to share with us your best 3 thrifting hacks. That is quite a mouthful to say. But yeah, share with us your top 3 thrifting hacks, please.
Yes. Okay. So I think the first thing is that when I started thrifting, I really liked the treasure hunt. Correction. I still like the treasure hunt, but I understand that that might not necessarily be for everyone. So I think that there's ways to go about thrifting or get into thrifting that are a little less overwhelming. Because if you're going into a Goodwill for like the first time ever and you have never been thrifting before, I think that that can be really overwhelming. So I think just an overall tip, maybe rather than a hack, of getting into thrifting is like find ways that you make it comfortable for you. Maybe go with a friend who's really good at thrifting. I have a lot of friends who will text me and be like, I want to get into thrifting, but I don't know where to start. And I'm like, I have enough clothes. Let me go thrifting with you and I will go thrifting for you. Like let's take this one day at a time. Maybe also going to one that's not a Goodwill, maybe going to like a more curated thrift store before you go to a Goodwill to like get into, okay, this is a little bit more organized. It's still a search, but it's a little less overwhelming than walking into a huge like Goodwill bins and being like, what do? I get overwhelmed in the Goodwill bins. So like, I get it. But I think making it appealing to people, like not being like just throwing them into the deep end and being like, okay, swim, is a great way of, keeping people to continue to keep thrifting, like keeping them motivated to keep doing it, which is so important. Like if I went thrifting or if I told someone to go thrifting and they just went to a Goodwill and hated it and got overwhelmed and left and never went thrifting again because they hated their experience, like that would not be a good takeaway. And so like walking them through it, being like, here, this is what I do. I think that's another thing is check the entire store. Once you're good at thrifting, if you want to go through the process, if you want to dedicate an entire day to going to different thrift stores, like I do a lot, check the entire store, because I've so often found things in like the kids section or in the men's section that I ended up absolutely loving, and then was like, dang, what if I hadn't walked into the men's sections this day? I wouldn't have, because we're not perfect. We pick up a garment and we don't put it back in the right place. Like it happens to all of us. So what if your most perfect, the outfit that you have been looking for, the garment that you've been looking for years was in the men's section because someone ended up not wanting it? Like looking back at people's put back racks, that's like a big, like if you're on thrifting TikTok, if you're on that, like people will be like going through other people's put back racks, or here's my put back rack. I've often find really good pieces from that. I think that a good thing that you can do is like make friends with people that work at the thrift store or work at vintage stores, or kind of just build that relationship. I've made friends with people that have vintage stores in Los Angeles, and they have so graciously been like, literally just call me when you want to come. It can be like 9 o'clock and you can be out with your girls and like come and I'll provide the wine and like we'll hang out and look at vintage clothes. Like I literally have had that said to me before. I haven't done it yet, but I'm actually planning on messaging that vintage store very soon. But like building these relationships with these people that own these stores, whether it's the workers at Goodwill, which is obviously a bigger chain, or this random person at a super small thrift store that you just happen to stumble upon. I love talking to people about kind of like why they started this thrift store, or if they source things individually, or if they have people that source them for them, or like whatever, and like getting to know why they're doing this. I've made lots of connections with people through that, and then I think that it's an added bonus because they'll send you a picture and be like, this reminded me of you. Do you want to come get it? Or finding out like thrift stores will restock on certain days. So if you get the inside scoop on when they're restocking, you can kind of get your hands on something first before everyone else has a chance to kind of like sift through it. I think that's been a good one because it's made me friends, but on top of that, it's gotten me some of my best vintage finds. There's things that I do to make the thrift process easier in itself. So it's like a lot of the thrift stores that I go to still don't have like the dressing room open since COVID. And so there's like, if I'll wear like an outfit that's easier to put clothes on top of, I find that really helps. So I can try on clothes. That's kind of, some people don't like trying on clothes at the thrift store. I totally get that. You want to wash your clothes first. I do wash them when I get home, but I want to try them on so that I know if it looks good on me, if I really like it, because that again goes with the whole sustainability thing. I don't want to buy something and then not have it look good on me and like never end up wearing it. And now I've just bought something that I'm going to go take back to Goodwill. I don't want to do that. So I'll wear like just like maybe like clothes that are like tighter to my body so I can throw something over top of it, or like a tank top and shorts or something like that, or something that's easy to, I'll do like skirts a lot because then I can slip jeans underneath the skirt and like feel comfortable being in the Goodwill and not flashing people. This is the most I've talked about flashing people on the podcast. I don't have this occur that often, guys. But
we've all been there. Don't worry. We've all been in a shop where we've not been able to try things on for whatever reason. We've had to just kind of do it in the store at some point, and it's like, well, it's just life. We've all been there. If you were at the beach, you'd be wearing less. So I think it's absolutely fine if, you know, on occasion somebody might get a little bit flashed. Yeah, it happens. It happens to the best of us. It's not something I aim to happen for sure, but it in recent days this has happened. It's the first time to me, and so now I'm traumatized. But I know it's a touchy topic. Just happened. No, just kidding. But yeah, I found that's been really helpful, is like being able to try things on, because that'll really give me an idea of like, does it look good on me? Do I really want it? Do I love it? My other big thing is like my friend will do this differently than me, so I think both of them are kind of fun. I always get a cart, so that I can put my phone down, put my purse down, whatever, and not necessarily have to stress about it too much. But I go around and like if I have a slight inkling that I like this thing, I'll put it in my cart because I don't want someone else to grab it, and then I can also go around my entire rest of my like thrift trip and kind of think it through and be like, okay, I grabbed this. Do I really like it? And then once I've grabbed it and I have my cart full is when I'll like be like, okay, now let's go through everything that I have in my cart and really decide what I truly love. But I just like to grab it and kind of think about it for a second. My friend will do it where she doesn't put it in her cart, but she just kind of holds it for a little bit. And she'll like walk around the thrift store and be like, do I like this? And then if after a few minutes, she's like, no, I put it down. And so we've been thrifting. Me and my friend have been thrifting a lot lately, and I've noticed that those are like our two things. Like she'll just hold it up and think about it, and I'll just put it in my cart and not think about it, and like think about it when I get to everything later. So whichever kind of, I guess, is more suits you, whichever you prefer. And there's so many things to make the thrifting. I found that there's a trick with your jeans. I learned this at the retail store I used to work at in high school, so a very long time ago. But if you take your jeans, usually, not all the time, this is not foolproof, but if you take your jeans, usually like half of your waist, so like if it's just like you're holding up your jeans like they normally are, like the front is in the front and the back is in the back, and you just wrap it around your neck, usually, not all the time, your half your waist is like the circumference of your neck. So I found that if the two ends of the jean like touch easily, I don't have to pull it too hard, or if it fits, there's not so much excess. Usually they'll fit me pretty well. That I think that also helps. Like if you're going for, I don't go for like low rise pants, but I'll go for like jeans that are maybe a size up and then they fit a little lower. So like if it has a little too much excess, I'm like, okay, now I know that this is going to fit me a little bigger, and maybe that's what I prefer or what I want in terms of this pair of jeans. But those are hacks, like if you don't want to try on the jeans itself, like I found that has worked for me. And there's other things like that. There's something like your arm is also the length of this and that. And so it's like, it's really interesting. I always will like randomly drop that on people. And I'm like, yeah, I go to fashion school, guys. I know this stuff. They're like, I've never heard of that before. And I'm like, what could I say? The way I didn't even learn it at fashion school, I literally learned it at my job. That's so clever. And it is such a useful thing to know, because I think when you are out and there isn't necessarily the facilities to try on, that can be a really big barrier, but they are incredible tips. And I think lots of people listening to this, it will help them to go out and give them confidence when they actually start thrifting, or if they're regular thrifters already, they may not have known some of those hacks. So where can people find your book? Is it released already, or when does it come out?
It's releasing on Thursday.
Exciting. So that will be, because the podcast will come out later. What date is that?
Oh gosh, I should definitely probably know this, but I'm forgetting. It is Thursday, the 16th of May. And if you go on, I'm going to post about it a ton on my Instagram, which is just my name, Lexy Silverstein, Lexy, silver like the color, Stein. But I'm going to post about it a ton. It'll probably be in the link in my bio on my Instagram. It'll also be on my website, which is www.elexify.com. That's ELEXYFY. I've had that name for my blog since I was like 13 years old when I first started my blog. So that's what that's from. But it'll be on there. It's an ebook, so you can download it. You can read it wherever you want. And yeah, it has all my favorite thrifting hacks. And I'm working on some more things coming up, so stay tuned with that. But yeah, that's where you can.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your wardrobe with us. It's been fabulous chatting with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please remember to check out some more episodes of Off the Hanger.